In the meantime, let's go to Matty Johns. Hello to you.
Hey, Joel, Fletch, tourists, how are you, lads?
Going good. Now, Matthew, I know you're a bit down. There's a void in your life. I can see it. Well, Matthew and I would go in to Fox when we catch up, and I said, did you watch the last episode of Mobland? Oh. Did you think, what about this? What about Helen Mirren? What a wreck she is? Yeah. And then, all of a sudden, it's gone.
I know.
So what have you filled this void with?
Oh, well, Fletch, I've been on the road quite a bit. So yesterday, a bloke put me on to an American one because I'm not really true crime, but he put me onto it. I was driving back from Newcastle yesterday. It's at Bakersfield 3.
Hang on, yeah, Matthew, we've got the host that they're coming on. I got to get her. Is it worth listening to?
What? Mate, no, it's riveting. It's a bit of a slow start, but oh my God, geez, it builds. Joel, your enthusiasm has been inescapable.
I know, sorry, it has. It's actually been a bit cringeworthy. I'm so excited for it though, Brian.
Yes, I know you are. MJ, what about you know how like I was frothing on Harry D'Souza. I'm actually thinking about changing my name. Would you like to tell the story that someone told you about Harry?
Yes, about Tom Hardy on set. Yeah, I know a few people who've been on the film sets with Tom, and they said, I mean, unsurprisingly, they said hard work, really hard work. But you know, Christian Bale is known being hard work. A lot of those great actors are. But they said if there was a 7:15 call time, they couldn't get him out of his trailer till about 9:30. He's playing PlayStation. And they said drove the continuity lady just nuts. Because there's one person always on a film set whose whole job is continuity. Have you, are you wearing the same watch? Have you got your rings there? Have you got this? Has your hair parted the same way? And he would just turn up and say, I'm going to cut my hair. And they say, mate, you can't. You're in the middle of a shoot. You can't do it. He just cut it. So they said it was incredibly hard work, of which Piers Brosnan alluded to in an interview.
Yes, yes. I don't have photos of Christian Bale in my house, so I don't care about Christian Bale, but I have photos of Harry D'Souza in my house. So it's really put me at the crossroads. Don't know whether to support this crazy bastard.
Support him. Okay. Support him. Go with him.
I'll wait until the next series, because the next series has been green lit.
In the meantime, boys, I've got a light version of Mobland, and it is very much the light version. Waterfront. Have you started seeing it?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't watched it. No, good.
Yeah, I think it's number one at the moment on Netflix, so it's worth giving it a
Scottish
crack.
or
American?
American.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's no Mobland, but it'll tie you over.
Yeah. On a different tourist will be he'll dig this. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm reading a book at the moment on the Bay City Rollers. Of course, most people won't know who they are, but tourists certainly will. They were in the 70s, like the glam teen band. I remember it as a kid. Mate, I love the Bay City Rollers. I used to have a pair of tartan. This is going to sound really desperate. Tartan braces to look like the Bay City Rollers when I was a young fella. And but the book is very, very good. Yeah, on the Bay City Rollers.
What's the song?
Brian, they were heralded as the biggest band expected to be since the Beatles. They were massively spruiked.
And what happened?
Tourist?
Well, reading the book Tourist, they were subjected to horrible things from their manager. Terrible, horrific, like the old Elvis thing.
Was their manager Chimes?
No. How good was Chimes last night?
He's a beauty.
Mate, he's the best.
Mate, I loved it when he ran through. He went on there probably thinking this is going to be great for business. And he went on there basically and said, spoke about all the people he managed who'd gone through incredibly difficult times. And then he went through a list of all the coaches that he managed that have been sacked. And I reckon if you were sitting there being a coach, you'd say, mate, I'm not going with that player.
I know. And he just kept rattling him off, and he was so proud of it.
He was so proud. Andy McFadden, he was gone. Then there was Loz, of course, got sacked first time State of Origin.
Pricey.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's great.
What were we talking about? What were we talking about before?
Speaking about maybe a departure, Brian, you were trying to allude to some big news, which I think you might be ahead of the curve.
I am ahead of the curve
So
because this is breaking news that Terrell Sloan has been granted permission to leave immediately.
And you think it's a two-prong attack here?
Two-prong attack. So what will happen? Selwyn, boom, straight to the Dragons.
This week.
This week. And then I can see T. Sloan being the next Fox down in Melbourne. See, the Will Warbrick thing, I don't know about the Will Warbrick head knock, but it is now getting, I think it's 3 months.
Yep.
He's now been out.
Wow.
I can see him turning into the Fox down there.
Wow.
Thoughts, Matthew?
Wow. Man, hey, that's massive news. Yeah, I can see that, Fletch.
Yes.
One thing, like with Melbourne and their scout Paul Bunn, he just goes after speed. He just goes, mate, you find those wingers that can just sprint, and then and then Craig will put the discipline into them. So Sloan would be exactly that type of guy.
What about the Selwyn drama? Are you feeling? Because they want to re-sign him. They said didn't they say they want to re-sign him, but they lowballed him? He's a state of origin player. Yeah,
Fletch, I'm really surprised he's fallen out of favour so quickly. When they were going through that difficult period, Selwyn at fullback, I thought was one of their more shine. I thought he was one of their better players, and in fact, I thought he showed well, it's going to sound the same, but he can be such a lackadaisical bloke. But, mate, I saw him a lot of games, like barking at teammates, and I thought to myself, this will be the making of this player. He's playing like he's really buying in. Mate, he was all over the place. I thought when he goes back to wing, his football's going to go through the roof, and then he just completely fell out of favour, and they're saying, 300,000 is all they can offer him.
Yes.
But fantastic for the Dragons. It'll be a challenge for Selwyn because everything I hear about Selwyn, he's a real homebody. So, boy, it'll be a big move to come down here.
Yeah, maybe there is more to it. Maybe he's with Selwyn. Maybe he's not. He's not interested in footy at the moment. There could be other things.
Well, very sadly, Brian, and this is the trap you may have, and I'm not saying this is the case for Selwyn, but very talented athletes who got it easy their whole life. Like Joshy Schuster's having a bit of time away from the game at the moment. Hopefully that's not the case for Selwyn, but there is a little bit of buyer beware, I would say that, where it didn't work with Madge, hasn't worked with Kevy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not a great buy, but you would have your guard up. Matty, Nathan Cleary's been named. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh, so if we take it away from Selwyn there for a second, because I never saw Selwyn play as a schoolboy, and to be honest, I don't know whether he was a schoolboy superstar or not. But you just said something really interesting there, Joel, and I concur with it. Very often you see schoolboy superstars, guys who were just going to be anything when they were schoolboys. And what happens is they go into the NRL and they just plateau or drop away. And part of that is what you alluded to is, superstar schoolboys, oftentimes when they come into the NRL, they are waiting for it to be as easy as it was when they were playing schoolboys. If that makes sense, if you know what I mean. And this is where such importance is put on learning the science of the game. And let's use Dave Fafita as an example. Is the fact I saw Dave play at schoolboy level, and honestly, the only thing that could stop him was the dead ball line. He just charged over like he was unstoppable. And I still think with Dave a little bit, he's been reluctant at times to embrace learning the science of the game because he's been both blessed and cursed with these amazing natural skills, natural abilities. And and this is the difference with, and I've said this to a couple of guys, big, strong kids coming through the grades. I said, you need to learn the science of the game because what is going to happen is, as opposed to when you're a schoolboy and you stand opposite your edge defender, whoever he is, when you're a giant as a schoolboy, your opposition will be terrified of you. But when you get to the NRL, standing opposite you, some weeks is going to be a Liam Martin, and he will put a ring around that fixture and say, righto, I'm up against this bloke this week and I'm just going to give it to him. And that's where you need to know the science of the game and have a plan B. You just can't rely on size and physicality.
That was refreshing. We had Jamie Humphries on the show on Sunday, and most kids, when you ask them, I think, as you mentioned, Matty, some players think it's they don't watch footy. Like they go, I don't watch footy. Like it's a sign of, like it's a bit of a badge of honour. But I asked him, and I just said, mate, do you watch footy? He goes, I love it. I just love watching it, and I love learning about it. I thought it was quite refreshing from that young fella.
I love it, Fletch. I think it's so imperative. If I was scouting players, I would be, regardless of the abilities of a bloke. If he told me that he's not a footy head and he didn't watch football, I'd be reluctant to sign him.
Yeah.
And this is what, speaking to people who were at Penrith during a difficult period, with really pretty much just before they, all these young guys, took control of the team and went on this amazing run. They had a group of players there, senior players, who I believe would pride themselves on not watching football that much.
Yeah.
And when the younger players spoke about football, they'd sort of scoff at them, and they just made a decision, the Panthers, we're going to ship these blokes out. They're gone. We'll bring in all these young blokes who are footy heads.
And whether or not they actually believed in not watching it, or it was just a bit of a bravado thing, saying, mate, I'm not wasting my time watching that. I can see certain players doing that.
Hey, Matty, on the Panthers.
As you know, people, a lot of people don't understand. Like, we were very lucky, or I was just before you blokes. I was in some ways lucky. I went through my first couple of years was literally you train once a day. You turn up at training at 4 o'clock. Training's finished at 6, and then as we moved into the professional era, we did get to training at 8 o'clock in the morning, train till 10 o'clock, go away, and then 4 till 6 in the afternoon. Players these days are in there first thing in the morning. Some of the clubs till like 5:30, 6 at night, and if you don't love it, then you're wasting your life.
Yeah, I agree with that. A bloke who does love it is Nathan Cleary. Now he has been named, Matty, to play this week, and it's a massive game. Panthers taking the Dogs. But as a hypothetical, if he wasn't available for Game 3, who do you put alongside him for this big decider at Accor?
Alongside Jerome?
Alongside whoever you deem would be the suitable 6 in the absence of Nathan Cleary.
I'd go Jerome Katoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Burton, Jerome.
Yep.
You need to have a pure 7 in there.
Yep.
And Isaiah Katoa is one of those. And state of origin history and rugby league history is littered with young players who were given a chance sometimes before, where people deemed that they weren't quite ready and went in there, thrown to the wolves and just killed it, and on they went with their career. Alfie Lang was a perfect example. Alfie's the prime example.
Wow. He did well because it's very hard to needle groins. I thought he was okay, Nathan.
I did too, both games.
In the grand final. He was taking the line on. He didn't shirk his duty. So if he's fit to go this week, I presume that it's not as bad as we first thought.
Yeah. You think he's going to be okay. It was just the kicking. The distance kicking, his ball playing didn't suffer. He took the line on, but it was just the finesse we missed with his kicking.
Now, MJ, you've been you love your music, and you've been to a lot of concerts in the world, around the world. ACDC coming. Have you ever seen ACDC live?
Yes, seen them a couple of times. Yeah,
They're good.
Awesome, incredible. Although I got up and was dancing and actually split my pants and had no underpants on, so that was a little bit.
Nice.
What,
that was a bit.
Were you on the stage with the band?
No, I was sort of just dancing. Got up, I was dancing in my seat, and there was a bloke in the seats behind it, and he was like urging me on. Yeah. So I went to step over the seat at Accor Stadium to get to him, and literally my pants just tore underneath, and my cags and everything were just hanging out. So I had to
wear Trish's
I had to
undies.
sit down for the rest of the concert.
Did you say wear Trish's undies? No.
Yeah, I know, and then had to. Basically disguise my genitalia with Trish's handbag, which she has in. Manaka's in there anyway, so.
Was it a clutch purse, or was it a bigger purse? What was it?
Oh, it was huge. It was a huge purse. It was like a Coles bag. Yes, but they are sensational. Once I get them mixed up a little bit sometimes, AC/DC and the Guns N' Roses concert, because they were close together. And I remember during the Guns N' Roses concert, Angus came out and started performing Whole Lot of Rosie. They had a cover of it. But just before he did, I got thrown out. were thrown out of a Guns N' Roses concert. Because, mate, wait for this. I was on the Terps and, mate, I was dancing and the security guy came up to me, this buffhead, and goes, mate, just settle down. And I went, mate, what are you talking about? I'm at a concert. He goes, oh, mate, your dancing's intimidating people. I went, my dancing is intimidating people? Brother, I'm going to repeat it again. We're at a Guns N' Roses concert, and he said, I'll give you one more warning. And I said, you know what, brother? I don't need another warning. If this is the way that you're going to treat the concert goers, I'm going to leave. And walked out, and the moment I stepped out, I heard him say, ladies and gentlemen, Angus Young. And I tried to get back in.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle. Oh, no. Matty, thank you so much. And I know you're going to be having your ears glued to the wireless, Brian, because guess who's coming up?
I can't wait.
Olivia Lavoice.
Your Lavoice.
Your Lavoice.
Why don't you like true crime? Why aren't you around the true crime?
Oh, I just think these days there's more murders and crime, or there's more podcasts about murder and crime than there are actually murders.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite genre of potties?
Oh, I like biographies. I like history. I like history one.
Yeah.
The true crime one I love most is Who the Hell is Hamish?
Yes.
The con man. That for me is just one of the top 5 podcasts I've ever listened to.
Don't you feel though when you hear a podcast and you hear names that are familiar, i.e. you know them, you get the interest sort of peaks a little bit?
I agree with you.
I feel like when you hear someone's name, you go, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to it.
Will you wait till we speak
I listened to your
Olivia
interview
Lavoice?
with the Patuta boys. They went, mate, we're joined by Brian Fletch. I went, mate, I know that bloke.
Yes. And all I got out of them was a lousy T-shirt. Now, they're good. They're doing some good stuff. All right,
Good fellas.
we're going to let you go.
Righto, lads.
And,
I can't wait. Bakersfield 3.
Exactly. Brian, Kobe Kane said to me, she said, you got to hear this podcast, the Bakersfield 3. And she's not a mad podcast merchant, but I devoured it, and it's probably one of my favourite podcasts of all time.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a newbie.
Yes.
I've only done the one episode.
Perfect.
So you might have to ease me through this.
Perfect. We love that because a lot of our listeners will be the same, folks. It's a potty push, and I'm pleased to say that this doyen, this legend who is joining us for the first time, Brian, on the Run Home with Joel and Fletch, Olivia Lavoice. Welcome to the Run Home with Joel and Fletch in Australia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Olivia, you are the host of the Bakersfield 3, host of the Man with 1,000 Faces, which I've not yet got to. But take a bow, young lady. What an achievement. What got you onto that?
You. I just, have been fascinated by crime for pretty much as long as I can remember. And I think at a young age, I thought, I don't know that I have the stomach to be a detective, but I'd really like to be involved in the crime solving process in one way or another. And I loved storytelling. So it just seemed like a crime reporter was a good option for me. But I will say, I now feel that I actually do have the stomach to be a detective. I think I
Really?
underestimated myself as a teenager.
Well, hang on. Hold fire, Brian.
I know.
Hold fire. Now, what we have here, which is perfect, Olivia, is myself, thanks to Kobe Kane, who's put me onto this, and I could not stop listening. I couldn't keep up. Spotify, podcasts, Apple Podcasts, I was refreshing. I couldn't, they couldn't keep up with me. But what I'll say is this, that you are a young mum. Is that true?
I don't know about young, but yes, I'm a first-time mom, and that's why I'm wearing a T-shirt that I think has spit up on it. And my hair is, I haven't washed my hair. I'm sitting here like really seeing myself and in my camera, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I come from broadcast news, TV news, so typically, I try to show up to these things a little more prepared than I am right now. But I guess
well done.
It's just what happens with the baby, right?
Olivia Lavoice Jr. is a boy, girl?
Boy.
Name?
A boy named Jack.
Jack. Oh, Jack Lavoice. I'll tell you what, Brian, that is a powerful name.
It is, isn't it?
And what we have here today, Olivia, is I know this story back to front, and I was so engaged in it, and I'm selling it to my compadre here, Brian, who, like most of our audience, are going to get on board with this. Brian, you've got questions.
No, I got a couple of questions, but why this one? Was this your first one, Bakersfield 3, Olivia?
No, no. This was Bakersfield 3 was my second podcast, but prior to making podcasts, I was a local news reporter. So in local news, I covered, hundreds of different crimes, and the Bakersfield 3 was a case that I started covering when working in local news, and I always knew that I really wanted to tell the story in depth. You know, local news, we're talking like you have maybe 2 or 3 minutes tops to tell a story. So then I went on to create this 15 episode podcast. And sometimes I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface with this case, because it's just that the case is just that complex and multi-layered, and
Olivia, can you just give all of us some bullet points, a quick synopsis on what the Bakersfield 3 is about?
Yes. So the gist of the case is you have these 3 friends who all either went missing or were murdered within about a 30-day period. So we knew, they were connected through their social life, but then, it became this question of, is it really possible that this could have happened to all 3 of them and there not be a connection? That's how it started, was this question of, are the 3 cases connected, and if so, how? And over the last 7 years now, there have been so many twists and turns, and every time I think I've seen it all with this case, something else truly shocking happens.
Okay, so without getting into it, I suppose, has there been an arrest?
Yes, there has. There has been an arrest and a conviction for one of the cases.
Oh, okay, right. And my other question is, Bakersfield, what sort of town is this, and whereabouts in America is Bakersfield?
Wow, I love this question. So Bakersfield is in California, and it is such a unique place in the sense that you are like an hour and a half away from Los Angeles. But I always say Bakersfield could not be, you might as well be a world away. Bakersfield is so different from most of the state of California. It's very conservative. It's very rural. It very, very much has a small town feel to it, in the sense that it seems like everyone knows someone, like everyone's someone's cousin or someone's ex-wife, or, even though it's really not that small of a town, somehow everyone's connected.
Olivia, can I ask you this? So you get this big case, and it's a big case, but when did it come on your radar? How early into the piece were you involved in this?
Very early on. And when I became involved, it hadn't been made public yet that there were these 3 people who knew each other who disappeared or were murdered within about a month, right? Like, those dots had not been connected yet publicly. So I got involved by looking at one of the disappearances. And from there, that opened up to, okay, this missing woman had a friend who went missing about a month before her. And those two friends that were now missing, they had a mutual friend who was murdered, like right in between the 2 disappearances.
Wow. Okay. And the disappearance of the young woman and the young man, have those bodies ever been found?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to say too
No, that's fine.
much.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No,
I don't want to say too much. I would say there's some answers. There's some answers, but they're also so not the answers that anyone would have ever
Predicted.
expected. And unfortunately, what I will say is, unfortunately, a whole body has not been found, right? There's been
okay. A part of the body
yeah.
has been found. My next question is: were any of these three people linked romantically?
No, they were not.
Okay.
They were not.
Olivia, can I ask you this? Now, what was the first? Who was the first person that put you onto the case? Which particular person who went missing or who had passed? What was your first case study?
So sorry, I should probably give more detail in the beginning. So the Bakersfield three, their names are Bailey. Bailey's a young woman who went missing. Micah, a young man who went missing, and then James, who was murdered. So you have two missing, one murdered. And so the way I first got involved was I would go to the courthouse once a week in Bakersfield and read search warrants. And usually the search warrants that were not sealed, they weren't for cases. They weren't for high profile cases. They certainly weren't for homicide cases or missing persons cases. They were usually for fairly low level crimes, but it just was sort of a habit of mine that I just was like obsessive about it. I still had to read every single one. And so I was reading one about an investigation into someone owning a gun when they legally weren't allowed to. So nothing that you'd put on the news, right?
Matt
like nothing
Queen?
That's a big deal. Yes, Matt Queen. Yes.
Yes.
You know your
Yes.
Yes. So I had no idea who he was. But there was just one line that said he had been living with a young woman who was now missing. And that, leaped out to me. And that's really kind of where it all began. I was like, what? It was literally just one line, just such a brief mention. And so from there, and it didn't even say her name or anything like that. So I, just started going through his social media, figuring out, okay, who is he dating? And then I found Bailey and saw that she had been missing at that point for about a month. And yeah, things just started falling into place from there.
Is Bakersfield a rough area? Like, was there a lot of drugs? Was a lot of crime?
Yes, Bakersfield does have a ton of crime. I mean, there's areas, it's like anywhere else in terms of, there's nicer parts of it and there's rougher parts of it, but there is a very high crime rate. I mean, I always say it was the best possible place to go as a young aspiring crime reporter. It was rampant with not just crime, like every type of crime you can imagine. And oftentimes very strange, bizarre cases.
Brian, what you'll learn with Olivia's podcast, the Bakersfield 3, and by the way, Olivia, you will see this. So they have metrics when it comes to podcasts and who's listening from where, what part of the world. Olivia, when they do the next refreshment, you're going to see Australia just pop out and go, holy dooly, why are they all listening to this? So, Brian, what you see is, very sadly, 3 different sliding doors in many ways, where life was going okay for the 3, but something had happened in their life, and it takes them down a bad path.
Okay.
And that's where the Pick a Path book all comes together. Is that fair, Olivia, me saying that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All 3 of them, in theory, had very bright futures and life was going quite well. They were, successful in many ways. And, just tragic circumstances really put them onto a different path. And I think that is story that a lot of people unfortunately can relate to. Like they have someone in their life who, is full of potential, but various circumstances,
Yeah.
changed
With
things.
you doing this podcast, was there any threats made against you or people saying, look, just drop off? This is not for you, this case?
Yes, actually. Yes. What I experienced mostly with this case was I had a couple different sources who told me they felt there were a lot of rumors about who was involved in this case, and the cartel was being brought up, as well as the Hells Angels, which I don't know that you guys have the Hells Angels
we
over
do.
there.
Yes,
you?
we
Okay.
have. Yeah, we have.
Okay,
them.
you do. So yes, there was talks of them being involved, and so a couple of my sources were like, "Hey, you want to really be careful with this one." Da da da. Which was very interesting to hear because at that point I had been covering crime for years and I'd never been told that before. No one had ever suggested that I, should kind of watch my back.
Okay, my other question is, because I'm very, very interested in this now, were the two disappeared people and the person that was murdered, do they have any links or records, crime records with themselves? They've been arrested.
Olivia, you've now got him, right? Okay, I've been selling this to him, but you've sold it to him better.
Yes.
You've now got him. He's in. He'll have the whole thing polished off in about a week. Play on, Olivia.
Yeah, had they ever have any criminal records?
Yes, but very minor. Nothing significant. Nothing significant. The only one of the three that had anything on their record that ended up being significant to the case, it was Bailey, the missing young woman, and she was arrested with her boyfriend at the time. And he is I don't want to give too much away, but he's a key player in the case, and them being arrested together seemed to sort of set off a series of events that was significant.
Olivia Lavoice, it sounds like a doctored name because it's a star name. Can you please clarify that is real?
It is my real last name.
Yes.
It's my maiden name also.
Yeah, keep it.
I know, it's so, my husband really wants me to change my name, but I'm like, I don't want to.
What's his surname?
Adams.
Nah.
And there's like a million Olivia Adams.
Yeah, see you later. It's Lavoice forever.
Olivia, one of Australia's...
Viva Lavoice, I say.
Brian, one of Australia's great anthems is sung by Johnny Farnham, which is what?
It's called The Voice.
Yeah, you're the voice.
Yeah, you're the voice. Yeah, and it's a great song.
It's a great song. We'll have to send you that. But before we move on, I want to ask you this. So if our listeners or our viewers had gone to YouTube and searched up not Olivia Adams, but Olivia Lavoice, they may see, in the Bakersfield 3, they may see yourself alongside three mothers on shows like Dr. Phil. Can you share with us the part the mothers play, which it gets a bit murky?
Who are the mothers of the victims?
The three mothers victims, mothers of the victims, they are a team.
Got you.
Until something happens where...
They're blueing.
The team is, it's called dissonance, Brian. You know that when you're torn, but Olivia Lavoice can enlighten us on that.
So the three mothers of the Bakersfield 3, I mean, they are everything to this story and to this case. I mean, without the moms, this case would have gotten nowhere. I mean, they have fought so incredibly hard. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm confident I never will. And yeah, I mean, they are the most inspiring. They're the most inspiring people I have ever come in contact with. And, when you know the whole story and you know what they've been through and what they've overcome, you'll know what I mean.
Okay.
They had to overcome so much more than anyone could have ever dreamt of. It has been just a wild journey for them. Yeah, a lot of twists.
Okay, you've got me hooked.
Brian, you're in.
got me
I knew you'd
hooked.
be in. Olivia Lavoice, thank you so much. And we are a sports show primarily, but we do True Crime Tuesday. We are so blessed to have you to represent us. It's a great story. My wife, Cobbo Kane, said, Joel, you got to listen to this, the Bakersfield 3. And as I said, you'll see on the podcast map, Australia's about to get very fiery around those downloads, Olivia. Because it is a sports show. Were you happy to see OKC win, or were you going for the opponent, which was
Pacers.
the Pacers, Brian? Where'd you land there, Olivia?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Basketball.
It might be,
NBA.
oh yeah, I have no
No,
idea.
Yeah.
I reckon you're an NFL fan.
I am not. My husband, I wish I could yell to him.
No,
from the
we don't
other
like
room,
him.
"Hey, come
Well,
answer this," 'cause
no.
I know
We'll get
he would
Mr.
have an
Adams on
answer.
next time, Olivia, for that, okay? Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Hey, Olivia, firstly, congratulations. 2 Emmys you've been nominated for the
you.
Bakersfield 3. You must listen to the Bakersfield 3. I could not stop listening, Brian. And this guy's a mad fad guy, Olivia. If he finds something, he'll be all in.
Yes.
He's going to be all in. And we are so grateful for your company. And maybe down the track, we can get you on for the other podcast, which has exploded for you as well. Do you want to give that a plug?
Sure. Yes. The Man with 1,000 Faces is a crazy story that I worked on when I was a very new, naive reporter. And it all began with me doing my very first jailhouse interview with an accused murderer who then ended up confessing to not only the murder he was awaiting to stand trial for, but other murders as well. And things really snowballed from there. And people call him the real life Joker. All you have to do is look at his face and you'll see why.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Wow.
The Man with 1,000 Faces.
Right. Geez, you do this very well. Your hook and tease is brilliant.
Thank you.
Very good.
Olivia, thank you so much. Olivia Lavoice, folks. This
you, guys.
girl is an absolute supremo, absolute gun when it comes to all things True Crime Tuesday.
Now, before
and
we go, your husband's first name's not Gomez, is it?
No,
okay.
No,
I
no.
wish.
Good.
That would be cute, though, huh?
That
It would be cute. It would be cute. All the best to you and young Jack. We appreciate your time.
Thank
Olivia, thank you so much for joining the Run Home with Joel and Fletch.
Thank you so much.
What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.